And I have 8:30. Now might be a good time to check and make sure that any devices have been silenced that might disrupt your meditation. I'm going to provide a little bit of guidance for our practice this morning, and I'll go ahead and mute everybody. If any questions come to mind, please don't hesitate to unmute yourself and ask away. For now, let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. And when you're ready, using whichever method you find most effective, allow both your physical body and your mind to start to settle and rest, to become quiet and still. And in your own time, please go ahead and transition into meditation on the inner body. One of the insights that may arise for you through meditation on the inner body is that the body has consciousness. A related insight that may arise for you is that the body and consciousness are not separate. Therefore, because your consciousness is not confined to the envelope of your skin, and your body and your consciousness are not separate, your body is also not confined to the envelope of your skin. So very gently, very, very gently for the remainder of our meditation this morning, I'd like you to just experiment, perhaps even in a playful way. Experiment with observing sensations that extend beyond the envelope of your skin. very gently, very, very gently, please allow your consciousness to become less absorbed as you begin to arise from meditation. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May the people of this world soon come to reach a state where there is no such thing as conflict, aggression, or war. And may our experiences in our world be pervaded by patient acceptance, empathy, compassion, and wisdom. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Welcome back, everyone. So, just to refresh your memories about the purpose of that meditation and that we just did, observing sensations beyond the envelope of our skin. As you know, of course, all of the difficulties that we experience in our lives, without exception, all the problems, all the suffering, can be traced back to this notion of self and other. Specifically with regard to self, me, I, some meditation practitioners use the term I and ego interchangeably. We think that our sense of self is an independent, separate entity, and thus we try to withclose, our thinking mind tries to withdraw and close and isolate. So, beneficial practice, a beneficial antidote to that confused notion is for us to recognize over and over again that our consciousness is not confined to the envelope of our skin. The meditation on the inner body demonstrates to us that our body has consciousness, and our consciousness is not separate from our body. Lots of benefits from this meditation. Those are only a couple of them. We can come to experience the fact, not just understand conceptually, but experience the fact that our body and our mind are not separate, which is really, really huge, because I think for a lot of us, for most of our lives, we've been hearing over and over, mind, body, body, mind, not separate. Here we are experiencing it. Totally amazing. And experience is the only thing that's going to really transform in an existential way our lives and ourselves and our experience. So, body and mind aren't separate. We experience this directly through the inner body meditation. Because consciousness is not confined to the envelope of our skin, that means necessarily that our body is also not confined to the envelope of our skin. That too is a made-up idea, body confined to the envelope of our skin. We're totally allowed to hold on to that if we want. The view that my body is confined to the envelope of our skin. We have complete freedom to hold on to whatever views we want. I would just invite you to contemplate what the benefits would be of changing our view and coming to regard our body as not being confined to the envelope of our skin. Um, we come to recognize that our body is not separate from any other phenomenon in this world. Same with our consciousness. And that sort of starts to bring into question, what is this sense of self? By allowing ourselves to experience body and mind expanding beyond the envelope of our skin, and there really couldn't be anything else, any other components that would comprise our sense of self, right? Body, mind. That's kind of traditionally and typically what we've come to regard as being the components of our sense of self. If those two are not confined to the envelope of our skin and not separate from anything in the quote outside world, we come to have a non-dualistic experience, an experience of interconnectedness. Self starts to, the lines of distinction between self and other start to blur. And this notion of self starts to dissolve. Not saying that there's nothing there, of course. We're saying that there's not nothing there. That there's great insight to be had there. And that's kind of as far as I can go with regard to explaining it. At some level, it just comes from experience and becoming familiar experientially with these blurred lines of distinction. And there's such freedom to be had. There is such freedom to be had from releasing this constricted, confined, isolated, independent, autonomous notion of me and mine, and clinging to it so strongly and stressing about it and obsessing about me and mine all the time. Such freedom to be had from letting go of that. Yeah. I've come to find over the years of my practice in trying to awaken to this confused notion of self and others, I've come to recognize that it needs to be a very personal practice, because we all have different experiences. We all have different life experiences. We all have different karma. We all have different relationships to our sense of self and our sense of other. And I'm going to read an excerpt from Transform Your Life. I'm pointing directly to the Lojong here. And I've been studying Transform Your Life for 20 years, studying this text for 20 years. And every time I come back to it, I realize that there is another layer. There's yet another layer and another aspect of this body of teachings. And it's through developing a personal relationship with these teachings that I've been able to discover the next layer of the onion, not claiming to have any realizations that are deeper than anyone else. But for me, experientially, I keep finding the next layer of the onion through personalizing these teachings and really being deliberate and tenacious about examining them and deciding what part of these teachings resonate with me, what parts don't. And here it is again, this next paragraph that I'm going to go to. Again, chapter is How to Enhance Cherishing Love. The section is Recognizing Our Faults in the Mirror of Dharma. It is often so painful to admit that we have faults. that we make all manner of excuses rather than alter our exalted view of ourself. Do you have an exalted view of yourself? Don't answer. It's a question for each of us independently. That line doesn't resonate with me so much. I don't have, at least as it's presented here, I don't have an exalted view of myself. I've got other issues, don't get me wrong, but having an exalted view of myself isn't one of them. But maybe it is for you, and that's a point I'm trying to make. Examine for yourself. This was the advice of the Buddha. Personalize your practice. And just another kind of sidebar to this, where we're going with all of this is waking up to the illusion of self. And one of the practices that we engage in as a part of awakening to the illusion of self is self-cherishing or sense of self-importance. And I would plead with you in a heartfelt way, this isn't about saying, oh, self is bad, must be destroyed. Sense of self is bad, must be destroyed. Self-cherishing is bad, must be destroyed at all costs. This is the enemy. Maybe take a lighter approach to it. Kind of a thought that came to me this morning was like adolescents who have been in our lives, maybe children, our children who are adolescents, or maybe our nieces and nephews. We see in teenagers going through adolescence this obsessive concern with image, with self-image, right? And we watch adolescents going through this and we say to ourselves, it just doesn't matter. You're getting really, really backed up about something that just doesn't matter. And I love you anyways, and I'm going to hold you while you awaken from this confused experience that you're having, this confused obsession. I would propose that we take a similar approach to our waking up to our sense of self, not being too hard upon ourselves. Remember the Buddha, before the Buddha attained enlightenment, he was an ascetic. He went on the path of asceticism, self-mutilation of his body, in particular, depriving it of food, depriving it of water, depriving it of shelter, just inconceivably difficult practices of asceticism in order to destroy the body, basically, and thus destroy craving. That was the idea. He ultimately came to conclude that that's not the way. Asceticism is not the way. Destroying the body has no benefits. And I think we can take a similar approach with regard to asceticism and our sense of self, right? Not subject ourselves to extreme hardships, mostly in the way of thought, with regard to our quest to awaken from self. Let's be gentle, be maybe even a little bit playful, like we might with an adolescent who we love, who's going through the trials of adolescence. Well, I had intended to go through an entire paragraph here, and I've actually went through one sentence, and I had another text that I wanted to read from that relates to this, and I haven't even been able to crack it. So it's 9 o'clock. We're out of time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your practice.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're most welcome. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.